Alright, so here we are at the Web Security Academy. I'm using the Burp browser, although I think I might not even need to use Burp today. But anyway, that's the easy way to get into my account here. I saved the login in this browser. And so I want to do cross-site scripting. So let's move down to that. There we are, cross-site scripting. And I just picked a few that seemed interesting here. The first one was exploiting XSS to perform Csrf. This one here. All right, so let's go here. And open the lab. All right, so this has got a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability in the comments function. So you can post script in the comments, and when other users view the comments, it'll run that script in their browser. And what I want to do is change the email address. So Burp will be handy in this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is see how the email address change happens. So I'm going to go into my account. And I think it told me login as Wiener Peter. Let's see. Yeah, Wiener Peter. Okay. So I have to log in as Wiener Peter. Okay. Okay, now that I'm in, I could change my email here. So I want to see how this request works. So I'm going to go into Burp, History, and like I usually do, clear all the old history, just so I don't have to hunt for the good one in all this junk. There. Now, I'm going to perform an email address, so I'll just change it to test at AOL.com. That's fine. So I update the email. Okay. And now here in Burp, I see a post to change email. And so I'm just going to copy that to the repeater. I don't think I'm going to need to repeat it. That's just a place it won't leave. So now I can see what it looks like. It's a post to my account change email. It's got a session cookie to authorize me. And down here in the data, it's got the email and a Csrf token. So, like I said, this website has got a Csrf token, so I'll have to get that and include it. So that's the structure. I need to create this post request in my cross-site request forgery. And that just requires knowing a little bit of XML HTTP request, which we used last week. Last time we did this, they have an example script here. One thing, by the way, I don't really quite understand this part. See, remember we talked about this before. You make an HTTP request, and you need to get this Csrf token. But the problem is, this script is going to be on a part of the page before the Csrf token exists. So it'll be empty. So what you have to do is force a reload. Here, on load, call handle response. So after it's loaded, it will then call the handle response and do it in here. And then so first you do a get to load the page again, the My Account page. If you go here, this page is my-account. So the first thing my script has to do is reload this page. Then, when the page is done loading, it will trigger this onload and call handle response, and that will build the response. And this is going to be a post going to my account change email with the email, and here it's going to have Csrf equals token, and the token will fetch it using the document object model. Now this request here, I never have quite understood how this works. This stuff here looks sort of like a regular expression. I don't know what that one does at the end. So I don't use that. I use a simpler one that I understand. And let me just show you the one I use, which is the one I used last week. So if I go here, to do this exploit, I'm going to put it in the comments here. So you go in the comments and insert some script. And this is the script I used. It's the same as their script, except, I wonder if I can make it bigger. I can. Good. All right. It's the same as their script, except I made this part simpler. I just select input field with the name equals Csrf and the value of that input field. Yes, you have to know the structure of the DOM. Yeah, if you people understand this one, you're ahead of me. In fact, This one here sort of confused me, this stuff here. Word plus, then the slash. I'm not quite sure what that one does. Yeah, so anyway, this is some other way in the document object model to fetch that field, and you can tell it. That's regular expression, I know. So if you want to see it, this is the, let me go here. Yeah, well, let me just run this one and show that it works. So all you do is post this script, put anything in the name, anything in the email, anything in here. Okay. And then when you post that, you will win. So let's talk a little bit about how this works. And in order to do that, I have to go back, let me shrink this a bit, to home, or to my account. All right, this is the page where I'm going to do this email change. So let's view the source for this page and find that Csrf token. Okay, make it bigger and search for Csrf. And maybe we can figure out how that other attack works. So here's uses of Csrf. That's more uses. There, this is what we're trying to get. We're trying to get that thing. In this form, in that input button, we're trying to get that value. And the way I did it was, let me roll this up. There, the way I did it was this way. Input name equals Csrf value. So it goes for an input field with that name, and it gets the value. That's one way to do it. The way they did it was this. Let me just put this in my text editor so we can compare them. The way they did it was that. So there's the source code. So it is this response text match. Look for name equals Csrf, so it finds this. Then I think look for the regular expression, looking for text fields and picking the second field or something. That's the part I don't quite get, this part here. Value is that. Then this. Then that's what I don't quite understand. Anyway, that's why I didn't use it. I didn't understand it, and you don't need it. But you have to Google it and study it. Unless any of you are more of an expert than I am in this stuff, that was hard to understand. Anyway, so that's one way to solve this one. And there's another one I wanted to show you. Let me get my notes bigger. Okay, this is one that fits the lecture. It's where we're going to have single quote and backslash escaped. So it is the next one that's solved down here, of course. Maybe it's up here. Reflected XSS into a JavaScript string. There, this one here. Okay, with single quote and backslash escaped. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so I've got a reflected cross-site scripting in the search query tracking functionality. And a reflection occurs inside a string with single quotes and backslashes escaped. And this required something that I could not figure out without reading the hints. So here you got to play to search something. So you put in like test and search. And now you get a page that echoes back what you put in, test. So the thing I usually do is put in like test and then like a bold tag and see if the bold tag is going to take effect. So I search. And the bold tag did not take effect. So let's see where that test appeared in the source code. If you view the source code and make it bigger and search for the string which was test. All right, so this one you can see why the bold tag didn't take effect. It turned the less than b greater than into ampersand LT semicolon. It HTML encoded them, which means they'll print on the screen, but they won't be interpreted as meta characters. Down here, though, there is something called variable search terms. And here, there's something that uses that search term later. And so really, it turns out all you had to do was put it in here. But in order to do this, I was baffled at this point. I'm in between quotes. So anything I put in here is not going to work. So how do I possibly inject code inside the quotes? And it turns out to be incredibly simple, but I spent a while trying to hunt and understand why. And the logic here is you have to understand what's going on in your browser. Web pages are incredibly evil. Web pages are not written in just one language. The page is written in HTML, but you include JavaScript in the HTML. So the browser has to first make a first pass through the page looking for these script tags and these /script tags, and the stuff it finds that's denoted in that fashion gets passed on to a different engine, which runs the JavaScript. And this is why if you use JavaScript or PHP that does this, you'll see them put things in comments that are commented out for one stage of the parser, but the next stage of the parser will look in the stuff that appears to be a comment to the HTML parser, which is pretty mind-boggling. So what's going on is you can put a closing script tag in the string, and it will be interpreted by the first pass as a closing script tag. The first pass is only looking for script and /script tags, and it's not bothering to parse out matching these apostrophes, which I couldn't believe. Not only that it does that, but that's even reliable and you can count on it. So the injection is incredibly simple. All you have to do is search for this here. Let me go back and do it. Search for that. Close the script tag, open another one, and do an alert. Now if you run that, it's going to pop up the box. And if you look at the source code, it looks pretty awful. If I go down here, okay, here is the script. Script var search terms equals /script. It actually matches that script with that /script, ignoring the apostrophe. And then this one is actually executed. So that's messed up. And I actually hunted around to try to find any web page explaining it, and I found one that more or less explains it, although it seems kind of like black magic to me. But anyway, I'm going to show you this, and I'll put it in the chat. If you want to see a somewhat logical explanation of this, here is a page with JavaScript tutorials from Herong explaining how this works. You have to have script and /script, and they say never put /script anywhere directly in your JavaScript code. Even if you put it inside a string or in a comment or anything, it will take effect. So if you need to refer to this, you actually have to do something like build it out of two separate strings, the first two letters in one string plus the first two letters in the next string. This is a known problem at JavaScript. This magic thing, /script, cannot be referred to literally inside any JavaScript or it will break your script. So that's a gotcha I didn't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. So I'll stop this recording. Wait, what does var search terms do? Wait, okay, let me see. What this does, this is just a string. If I do a normal search, let's do a normal search for something simple. If I search for like frog and search, then notice this frog up here. I think this now, I got to get the source code of this page. Okay, now, there, var search terms equals frog. This is going to write somewhere an image, including the search terms. And I think it's this thing up here. I think it declares a variable and it uses that variable to show this thing up here, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I wondered if I had to exploit that second thing, but you don't. So a document write image source equals tracker GIF search terms. It's going to write that in, and I don't know if you can see it. Image source it's going to write it down here. So it would be at the bottom. And yeah, it's a good thing. I never did get to the bottom of what this does. Resource image trackers GIF. It's writing something like a tracker and including that. But the thing, I just looked at it, and then I saw that it's going to encode it. So if you were to input scripts in the search terms, wherever this is writing, they wouldn't execute anyway. That's as far as I got the analysis. I don't quite understand where this is putting them, but I don't think it's exploitable. So I lost interest, and I realized you have to exploit it up here. Yeah, but it's just declaring a variable, but then it uses the variable. That's why my first thought is you have to somehow make the injection happen down here, but this encode URI component seems like that would probably block that. Yeah, you're declaring a variable. Yeah, it's just the name of the variable. Variable search terms equals frog, and this is using that variable to do something, which I didn't really figure out exactly. Good. All right, let me stop this recording.